the long-range styles, a lot of what we call changchuan or extensions. Today we are in store for quite a few of the short range and also hard styles. So we'll see Wing Chun, we'll also see Nanchuan, we'll see Trele Foot, which is a combination of both, and we'll also, I believe, see some Nanchuan, traditional Nanchuan.
This will be very interesting as you look at the 11 competitors this morning in Group B, Wing Chun. They are exclusively from the Ukraine and Russia.
Well, it's probably a function also of that particular category of competitions. The other distinction that we have here that's different than the Wushu World Championships is we have many other divisions that are separated by age groupings here, whereas the World Wushu Championships has very specific age limits. Here you have broader categories, so you have small children and then some of our more senior competitors also competing in the same style.
I think you described it literally with perfection. One word, perfection, when you called this a festival of Chinese martial arts, because it really has felt like that. These individuals are absolutely in competition. The judges will score them. There will be a first place and a third place and a fifth place, but it is so much more than that, as we've seen throughout the city over the early part of the week, people sharing their martial arts, celebrating their martial arts, people from all different countries in parks practicing together. It has been an incredible thing to see.
Our opening sequence really highlighted how many of the martial arts competitors from different corners of the world come together and took some amazing photos there, have an opportunity to share in this community of martial arts.
I was thinking the exact same thing as I was watching that open, that the Federation did a beautiful job of telling the story there. And if you haven't seen it, you can go right back to the beginning and watch it again. We will be underway shortly.
It looks like we may have Shamardin Bodan from the Ukraine and also Mr. Yaroslav from the Ukraine coming up.
And they are grouped by age, but as you get into this Group B, as you move into teenagers, you can be 2 or 3 years apart, and a huge difference in growth and size.
Sure.
Well, I think we'll see that here. I have personally truly loved seeing multiple performers on the carpet at any time. Being able to, move your vision between very small detail, looking at one person's foot or stance or hand, and then blurring your vision and looking at a large scope and comparing the two and kind of absorbing their performance together has been really, really beautiful.
And our panel of judges, of the 8 judges, will look at both competitors throughout their routine to capture the scoring for their balance, their speed, their coordination, their martial intent. And we have our first competitor of the morning coming up. First 2 competitors here.
And of the 2, now we see the difference in sleeveless and the short sleeves. Which one is the more traditional garb of the Wing Chun?
Well, they both, many would probably say the sleeveless is, but as long as he has short sleeves there, it's fine.
When you describe it as a hard style and short range, you can really visually put that into your mind.
Sure, and it looks like our other competitor has already completed his form while we have Shamardin still moving. We can see the short range technique on three different imaginary opponents, blocking, striking, thrusting, spearing.
And maybe even a fourth as he moved behind him there for a moment. And this young man, as he's learned this, when you mentioned martial intent, he will have learned this with the understanding of which block would be used against what strike, and visualize this as combat, would he not?
That's the intent. That's the martial intent. Many people have seen the sort of wooden dummy with protruding arms that these techniques are often practiced on to build the musculature and bone density there for the competitors. And
Mr. Yaroslav, you're right, finished very early.
It was a moving competition, so we saw one stationary routine and one moving routine.
Are there low stances or frequently low stances in Wing Chun, or is it primarily
allowing us to see the variety, because these practitioners of Wing Chun have an opportunity to compete within a Wing Chun division, recognizing that there are Wing Chun routines that stay in one area that are fairly stationary and change directions, and others that may be moved, as opposed to some of the forms that we see that move across the entire span of the carpet. We still have an opportunity to see balance, fluency of movement. Here, the short-range power executed.
the direction that his toes are pointing are almost exclusively forward, I've noticed in all of the competitors, in the direction that he's facing?
Well, this primarily is a thrusting, as we can see, a thrusting movement. So most of the movement's thrust out, and he's using a kick that is a thrusting kick, a heel kick or a push kick.
And a beautiful element to the style so far, and we will see other groups in Wing Chun after this, is the squared hips. There's a lot, you can see the power generated in the forward squared hips.
It's a great expression. Here it looks like we may be back to some Wing Chun.
Maricoda here in the Nanshuan category.
Yes, but it's clearly Wing Chun.
We have seen yesterday some combinations where they would be, you know, into a category with a little bit of a looser categorization, and it's fascinating because then you get to see either back to back or on a carpet side by side the true difference. But yes, you can see here. If you are the competitor and you're looking at the people before you and the people after you, you must make it irrelevant and just go out and express your performance. I was watching the competitors come in today, and somehow on competition day, everything is a little different. Do you find even she did very well. You'll know that she'll continue to get better. What have we got here?
Wing Chun knives again. Butterfly, also called butterfly knives. And it looks as if it's more a very traditional form, as you can see, following similar patterns to the Wing Chun that you saw yesterday.
The squared hips, squared stance, tight in, short range. 3 little re-grips there. Next to a steel whip, or
looks like we had the cheering section for our Romanian judges and competitors from Romania looking on to see how her teammate fared. We saw Obianu yesterday, Robin, in Wing Chun. bare hand Wing Chun.
It is a beautiful martial art, Wing Chun. Oh, that was our Ukrainian athlete, Shamardina.
Oh, was it Shamaردina?
Yes.
Oh, so we're preparing for
Yes.
Romania.
It would have been how high it would have been without the one extra setback. But because he rebounded so well from it, he was able to score well. And this linear movement, much more traditional Wing Chun.
This is Laishin from the Ukraine. Still see him develop in terms of power and control of the swords as his body develops and his skill develops over the course of his practice.
From the Ukraine, and he will have another Ukrainian young man following him. A little regrip there. Another.
Shishirbina.
Shishirbina. So young.
Oh no, that was Shishirbina.
Oh.
So perhaps we didn't see.
You see the two Peruvians, and there's a third coming up as well. Diego will come up right after Shamardin from the Ukraine, right here. We've seen him perform in Wing Chun before, and we've seen him perform with weapons as well.
I thought so.
I think the daggers. Just you go to school and your friends say, "What'd you do this weekend?" Someone says, "Oh, you know, I rode my bike and played video games." "What'd you do?" "I competed with weapons at the World Kung Fu Championships in China."
Well, these guys have had to miss some school, so they've probably had nice send-offs from some of their friends.
I've enjoyed this young martial artist.
Looks like we might actually have our other competitor, yes, on the floor, Shamardin from the Ukraine. A lot of Wing Chun stylists here at the competition.
And as you pointed out, this, you know, there may be less and less over time places for them to show their thing, especially in a setting where they can show it and compare and learn and share with people from all over the world. This is maybe the very best place they can do it.
So you'll notice, Robin, some of the same movements of the body, the short movements of the body that happen in Southern style also should apply here once they have the weapon. And that's what we see in the more advanced development of practitioners.
Oh, a little adjustment there, but he caught it. Shaban Serhi,
Also from the Ukraine. Ukraine well represented throughout the competition.
As they were at the World Wushu Championships as well. That little change of grip was a challenge for both gentlemen from the Ukraine, as it would be for anybody. We'll see 3 more gentlemen in the Group D other traditional double weapon. And then we are going to see some soft and flexible weapons as well. We have seen some in the other. So now
I was just looking at our last practitioner,
yeah.
Vincent Liu, as we move into traditional double flexible women's Group A. So our small, our young